fighting, Lord.
Praying hard to come.
All my life I've been fighting, Lord.
Fighting hard to come, Lord.
All my life I've been walking.
Walking long to come. All my life, all my life.
All my life until you come, Lord.
All my life, all my life.
All my life until you come. Working, praying, fighting,
train coming. Don't need no baggage. You just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesels humming. Don't need no ticket. You just all you gotta do is just oh, people get ready. Join the train to Jordan, picking up passengers coast to coast. Faith is the key. Open doors and bordage. There's hope for all among the love the most. Oh, people get ready. There's a train coming. You don't need no baggage. You just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesels humming. Don't need no ticket. You just all we gotta do is just yeah. Oh, hey. Oh, people get ready. All you gotta do is get ready. There's a train coming. Oh, don't need no ticket.
What, me? Boy, come here. What do you think?
I think I should go.
Your dad is coming home today and you're trying to leave?
We've been through this. I told you a dad is someone who is actively present in their kid's life. Paul's just an investor.
Investor?
No disrespect. It's like he went to the bank and made a deposit. What? Only benefit I got is like he opened an account when I'm here.
Well, I'm about to make a withdrawal and then you'll be gone. Your father's finally coming home and you acting like this.
Like what? I don't know him.
Then get to know him.
Are you serious? This dude's been locked up for 13 years trying to play dad from prison. If I had a son at home, I'd be there.
He was there.
Was he here for my birthday or 8th grade graduation? Or maybe he was there when my team won the championship. Oh, he was the one taking the picture because he sure enough wasn't in it.
Jaden Anthony Brown, you got one more time. Just one more. You don't think this is hard for me? Him being away for 13 years? He used to put you to sleep every night.
And he hasn't put me to sleep in 13 years. 13.
You swear you know every damn thing.
Kinda.
But you keep failing history. How's that?
Teacher don't like what I'm telling them. When you teach the teacher, they get scared.
Well, if you know everything, tell me about the new Jim Crow.
That's the dude who segregated like water fountains, right?
That's the old Jim Crow. I asked you to tell me about the new Jim Crow.
What, his son?
Don't they teach you anything about blacks in America?
Conspiracy race theory is basically banned in America.
See, the new Jim Crow, he's smarter, wiser, and clever. This is why a black person and a white person can commit the same crime, go before the same judge, yet the black person gets double the amount of time. And why blacks make up 13% of the population and 38% of prison inmates.
I get all this, but why are you telling me?
Jaden, do you love me?
Of course.
Do you really love me? And would you do anything for me?
You know I would. And if I could do anything for you, then I'll do it.
Okay. Then go to your room and get dressed. Okay, he's very angry, but just talk to him. He'll come around, okay?
What's up, son? You been quiet?
Nah, I just thought you and my mom wanted to catch up.
I want to catch up with you too. What's going on? Any lady friends? The team? School?
Ma, I told you about that already.
I know, but I want to hear from you.
School's been busy. No lady friends. On the team and don't play any.
Look, I know me being locked up hasn't been easy on any of us. If I could, I would take back every wrong so I could be there with you.
Well, you can't.
Jaden, your father just came home. The last thing he needs to be worried about is his son bashing him over his head about his past mistake.
Well, that's what you do.
I understand you're mad at me, but don't take it out on your mom. I know you're hurt. I'm sorry I couldn't be here.
You think not having you here was a concern? None of my friends have their fathers. The thing that hurts is having to watch my mother suffer, being evicted and knowing I can't do anything.
But that has nothing to do with your father.
That has everything to do with him. If he was here, that would have never happened.
I get it. I hated knowing I couldn't help. And I couldn't do anything except sit in a cell praying God would lighten your burden.
Now you a church man?
Jaden!
Little nigga, I don't know who you think you are. I'm your father. You're not mine. I know you never wanted to come down and visit me in the prison, and I never forced it. I didn't want you to see me caged, locked up like some animal. I know what it's like to grow up without a dad. That's why I vowed to be a better man than my father.
Jaden, just give him a chance.
I did. And he took a 13-year vacation.
Do you think I wanted to be locked up and taken away from my family? I got caught up in a system that is meant to take the black man away from his family. They call it mass incarceration. It's nothing different than what they did during slavery.
Thanks for another critical race theory lesson. I see where my mom gets it from.
Okay, so what is the last thing we covered?
5 things of geography?
Exactly, Andre. So what did we learn? We learned how people are in a place and they use their location, their environment, surroundings, right? Okay, so I want you to take that concept and think about why your ancestors decided to come to the US. Think about the benefits.
Yo, Mr. Ubu, I already know why my ancestors came here and there weren't any benefits for them.
Were you given this assignment before?
No, but I know why my ancestors came here. I might have an idea about yours there too.
Why is that, Mr. Brown?
Mine came from slavery. Yours probably...
Slave owner.
colonizer.
Hey, everyone who came to America in the 18th, 19th, and 20th century came here for economic opportunity.
Economic opportunity for my people and yours are two different things.
Mr. Brown, my great-great-grandfather came here from Germany right before World War I. He worked in a factory.
I don't know where my great-great-grandfather came from, but I'm pretty sure he worked on a plantation.
So they both made a good living.
How do you call slavery a good living?
Not all blacks were slaves. Research shows that some of your people were farmers. Okay, so enough with the theories and the ridiculous ideologies. The lesson is to take this concept.
Excuse me, but what do you mean by your people? Because you know you're about to lose your job, right?
Yeah, I'm saying he's wild.
These aren't theories or ideologies, this is facts. There was no such thing as a black farmer in the South.
Where's your proof? Europeans went to Africa and hired slaves to farm the land because they were better at growing yams, cassava, eggplants, right?
Yo, how do you hire a slave?
What do you call that eggplant?
I meant workers. I meant workers, Lachelle, okay? Stop trying to twist my words. Your ancestors were farmers. You do identify as Afro-American, right?
Yeah, but...
African Americans farmed. They came here for economic opportunity.
We were the economic opportunity.
Okay.
Your great-great-grandfather probably has his name in a ledger in Ellis Island somewhere. We had no documentation. Your ancestors voluntarily
Are you done?
My people had VIP treatment. Tightly packed into a ship. We didn't have a choice.
That's enough,
You
Jaden.
probably didn't know that Wall Street was originally where they traded slaves, huh?
Preach, brother.
That's how valuable my people were. We were the first stop.
Jaden.
What?
You need to calm down before I send you to the office.
Just like Joshua laid down the 12 stones to remember, we as a church must remember. If we fail to remember, we fail each other. We have a lot to be thankful for. Unlike our brothers and sisters in Galveston, who were declared free by Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation. And yet, we're denied that freedom for 2.5 years. We must never forget that miscarriage of justice. We must go back in order to go forward, to continue to fight for legacies. Just like the word says, for the Lord works righteousness and justice for all of the oppressed. We must choose as a community to continue to fight for the legacy of Juneteenth. Amen? 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 Amen and amen.
Jesus, I'll never forget what you done for me. Jesus, I'll never forget how you set me free. Jesus, I'll never forget how you brought me out. Jesus, I'll never forget, no, never. Jesus, I'll never forget.
Pull, run. Hey, man. Oh, man, it's good to see you on the outside.
For sure.
I didn't know you was a church man.
Actually, I started going to church when you got out.
Oh, that's good to hear. The church is lit. Yo, they got a ministry for inmates who just came home. You should come through Wednesday at 6.
I'll think about it.
Come on, you need a community to grow. It's called My Brother's Keeper. No judgment zone. The facilitator did 20 years himself.
All right, maybe I'll swing through.
Saturday's a Juneteenth event. Pastor preached the word.
Sure did. Hey, look, I don't want to hold you. Just come to on Wednesday. We'll chop it up there. All right.
Come on, G. Never, 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 ever, ever, never, never. Woo! Come on.
Okay, Jaden, you're up.
Go, Jaden.
My project's on African confinement. Our ancestors came from the west coast of Africa. Over 400 years, transported as cargo, tightly packed into the ships across the Atlantic, like sardines in a can.
Okay, Jaden, you have 5 minutes.
Today, they're tightly packed in prisons. Slaves were chained in cold, dark, wet places without any sunlight, just like prisoners are locked behind cages for 23 hours a day.
What is your report on?
MAAFA.
What?
It's the tragic events that took place during the Middle Passage to enslave Africans.
There were no prisoners or jails on any slave ships.
The slaves that were chained to the bottom of the ship soiled themselves in their own waste, shackled hand to hand and foot by foot for long periods at a time, just like black men and women in solitary confinement.
You mean they ain't let them use the bathroom?
Nah, they went on themselves.
That's nasty.
All right, Jaden, let's go. 3 minutes.
The people want to know the truth. Okay, many slaves couldn't live out their lives in those conditions, so they chose to jump into shark-infested waters over being a slave. The colonizers try to keep them alive for free labor. Prisoners commit suicide to avoid being a modern-day slave, fulfilling the prophecy of old freedom. It's no Negro spiritual, and I go like, and before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. Overseers and wardens carry the same responsibility. This is how our people were sorry are treated.
Your report was supposed to be on the Middle Passage.
It is. It's showing the reflection of the Middle Passage in today's society. Even though we're on land, it's like America still transporting us back through time to a foreign land with laws and systems of oppression built into the Constitution. It wasn't until Juneteenth where they finally freed us.
All right, who's next?
I still have 2 minutes left.
Your report was supposed to be on the Middle Passage, not prisons.
It was on MAAFA and how it affects us today.
Look, Jaden, I know that your father coming back is a sensitive topic, but it has nothing to do with slavery. There is no system.
Your denial of it makes me believe in it even more. Just because I'm black, I'll always be seen as a villain. Just because I'm black. No matter what I do. The game is stacked against me. How can I win? Now my time's up.
It's good to see everybody. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit about trauma. All right, we're going to reflect a little bit on what it means to re-engage with the world. So let me start it off. My name is Charles. I did 22 years in prison and I've been home for the past 17.
I'm Ron. I did 7 years in prison. I've been home for 3 months.
Paul, 13 years, been home a week.
Doug, did 17 years, been home about 3 months.
Welcome home, brothers. Come on, let's give them a round of applause. That's good, that's good. I remember when I first came home, I didn't have anybody to talk to about my time or my trauma. Being locked up can really mess with your head.
I'm a vet. I did 2 tours in Iraq after 9/11. I seen some crazy shit. I did 7 years for robbery and assault, and I've seen more people in jail sliced up, raped, and killed. I have PTSD from prison, not war.
I ain't been diagnosed, but I know I got that.
Man, Doug, you're just like Oprah. Every time somebody said they've got something, you got something too.
Woman, you don't know me.
What?
That's right, you don't know me. Hell, I spent time in ADSEG.
What's that?
Administrative segregation.
The nice way of saying solitary confinement.
Yeah.
Look, I can't even go to a nasty-ass public restroom, especially when it stinks.
Facts.
Reminds me of solitary. That shit attracts flies and rats. I spent 2 weeks in solitary. And those rats, you fall asleep at night and they just be crawling all over you, just all over you.
That's why they call them cells, y'all. Think about it. Cells are the lowest form of life. And when you're behind those bars, that's just how small you feel.
Solitary was a nightmare.
When I think of grown men caged in small quarters, in cold, dark cells with rodents, I can't help but think about the Middle Passage, when they forced our ancestors into ships, tight-packed in tiny spaces on top of each other, covered with blood, mucus, and feces.
I never thought of that.
The prison is the ship. The inmates are the slaves. The warden is the slave master, and the CEOs are the overseers.
He's right. The prisons are a multi-billion-dollar business. Y'all ever heard of Michelle Alexander's book, The New Jim Crows? That's what she calls it, where they privatize the prisons and they have the inmates working for cheap labor. It's just like slavery. The only difference is they pay them pennies on the dollar.
Word.
Yeah, I mean, the whole system is rigged, right? I mean, think about it. The government, private investors, they reap all the benefits. And what do we reap? The psychological bruises and scars.
Solitary broke a lot of people. I was down there myself.
Walkthroughs is a joke. The social worker going around asking us, are we okay? Are we gonna hurt ourselves?
Yeah, like we crazy enough to admit that in there.
I remember I stopped having my lady visit me. Y'all know, every time you are let out of SC, they make you strip, open your mouth, bend over, spread, cough, lift your genitals. The CEOs start making me repeat that procedure, so I have to put my hand in my mouth after I touch myself. I had to decide whether or not a family visit was worth me touching my sweaty genitals and then running my fingers through my mouth. It was like being a slave on the auction block.
Wow, thank you for sharing that, man. We just really need to remember, y'all, that we are not our traumas. All right, y'all hear me? We are not our traumas. Say that with me. We are not our traumas. All right, that's it for this week. We'll see you guys next week. Come on, let's give each other a hand. All right, take care.
What you drinking?
This is Liberty.
Liberty?
Liberty. It's an American tea we drink to celebrate our freedom.
Well, I need the entire picture.
Welcome to our first annual Juneteenth celebration. Now, this year's theme is Remember, Reflect, and Rejoice. Now, our ancestors came a long way for us to be where we are today. So we have to remember the struggle that they went through. Reflect on the sacrifices they made for our freedom, and rejoice in the fact that we've come this far by faith.
It was slaves, it was masters, it was overseers, it was the soldiers. Everybody was looking until this white man stood up on this second balcony, looking down and holding these papers and reading something called Emancipation Proclamation. Now, it was signed in January 1st, 1863. That was June 19, 1865. Well, this Gordon Granger, he kept on reading, and he read General Order Number 3 that said, "You are free." Great-granddaddy said, looked like everybody forgot how to breathe. They couldn't believe their ears. And all of a sudden, he heard whispers. "We's free? Did he say we's free?" think we's free. And all together, every free man, woman, and boy pulled their voices together and took a deep breath of freedom and said, "We free!" And Granddaddy then understood what Aunt Sally Sue said. And from that day, June 19th, 1865, they celebrated their freedom. And so should we.
This is nice.
Yeah, this is nice.
Only thing missing is Jaden's understanding and forgiveness.
He'll come around. Just keep trusting and believing. You ready for your speech?
So coming to the stage next is our special guest, Mr. Paul Brown.
I guess so.
Good afternoon, black people. Happy Juneteenth. Today, we celebrate our freedom as a community. Remember, we weren't always this privileged. We got to where we are because someone struggled so we could be here, so we could be free. Freedom came for us at a hefty price. I have learned that we don't know how to be free, how free we are until we are in bondage and are not free. I spent 13 years, 2 days, 9 hours behind bars for a careless mistake I made. It cost me time with my family and left me to wonder what freedom really means. It isn't until this moment where I know I am free. My life ain't perfect. I have some regrets, but I can say that as a free man, freedom ain't free. It comes at a cost. For our ancestors, it came as blood, sweat, and tears. Today we rejoice in our freedom, for it is tomorrow's promise. Happy Juneteenth.
Up from the muddy Atlantic, twisted and convoluted, rise the monuments of our struggles.
Defiant,
Desperate,
determined, and driven.
these who chose death as their contribution to the fight for freedom long to come. Even now, these same spirits resurrected dance to the rhythms of tropical storm's fury, refusing to be silenced. Yes, I say resurrection, for God does move upon the face of the waters, where we can face the faces of our forebearers and know, most assuredly, that on these shoulders we stand.
Hi.
I just want to say that I understand and I get it now.
Really?
I understand how hard it is to get caught up in the system.
My hope for you is that you never get caught up in the system and you become a better man than me.
My hope is maybe we can start over.
I would like that.
Yeah, that was fun.